How can you women support and encourage leadership in your man, or in the case of a single lady, as you enter a relationship without overpowering him? Let's talk about it. There's a flip side to everything. Like every different angle we can look at it. There's always, you can flip that coin over and look at it from the other side. So there's a couple different perspectives we can look at. First of all, you women are not responsible for the insecurities or the arrogance of the man that we're talking about in your life, whether it's your husband, your fiance, boyfriend, or potential more than just a friend. What you can do is that you can pursue your own personal growth and development, specifically in the area of healing, so that you're not operating from a place of trauma and being triggered, and confidence in your identity. And then when you can interact with a guy who is on the arrogant side, which is also just a flip side of insecurity. It's the other side of insecurity. It's still insecurity. Or the one who's insecure and intimidated and doesn't do anything and feels intimidated by you and overpowered by you. You're not responsible for that. However, if a guy's arrogance or intimidation or lack of leadership triggers you, that's something you can work on. You can take responsibility for why did you get triggered? And once you can interact with guys without getting triggered, the trauma isn't there, you're not interacting and engaging with him from a place of woundedness or victimhood, and probably a whole lot of other things we could name that I'm not thinking of. Then you will have the capacity to, if you want to be in that person's life, to speak into their life and encourage them and pull them up without getting into the pit with them, and without necessarily being from the perspective of you're not taking control, you're not overpowering. And I reminded Irina some of the attributes that I see that don't make her, to me, she doesn't look controlling to me. And that is the evidence of, or the presence of humility, not trying to make one's point without considering the other perspective. These are all things that Irina does that I'm just listing off. If you think of something that I forgot.
Asking questions.
Oh, asking questions, to seek to understand, to find common ground. That's a good attribute. And there's more.
Are you desiring to really encourage a man and bring the strengths out of him by asking certain questions, by pointing things out, maybe even encouraging and complimenting him on something where he still needs to grow in, and yet he's already taking action in that area, maybe small steps that can be pointed out and say, I really think you're doing an amazing job at rising up, and you're doing this and you're doing that, and kind of, bringing those things up, right? And you did that for me. And so it kind of goes both ways for both a woman and a man, because each person is different. Each person is walking in different gifts and different characteristics, and we all need encouragement when we come to a place of, getting to know a person and helping them become the best that they can be. Then we are not here to compete with each other, but we see each other's strengths, and then we focus on those strengths for that person. And if they have a weakness and I have a strength in a certain area, then we say, okay, great, I'll take that area on and I'll run with it. Some things that I'm strong in, I take initiative.
Yeah, you both as a partnership taking initiative in the areas of their strength.
Yeah.
And both walking in your identity with confidence is what then
Mm-hmm.
allows you to be able to create that space for each other without getting
Yeah.
triggered and feeling overpowered or like something's being taken away from or like you're feeling controlled. All of those things tie back into confidence in one's identity and
Mm-hmm.
not responding from a place of woundedness.
Yeah.
Wounds will cause things that can be triggered. If you can be
Mm-hmm.
triggered, that's just evidence of a wound needing to be
Yeah.
healed. It's not about avoiding the trigger. It's just a symptom of a deeper thing that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
So taking initiative won't be seen as a threat from a secure, confident identity on the other person's part.
Right. Unless there's judgment attached to it
Well,
and you
yeah,
do it out of judgment,
yeah.
then of course then it's going to
There's
be
a lot to
felt.
be said about judgment too, because a simple judgment, even on ourselves or
Yeah.
on the other person, it just brings the whole farm to a screeching halt.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing in that that's connected to that judgment is going to
Mm-hmm.
move until that judgment is released.
Yeah.
And as long as there is a judgment there, everything we believe is going to come to pass to
Yeah.
confirm that judgment.
But also don't compare yourself to other couples or to other people, but see where you personally need to be with your partner or with those that you are getting to know. And again, each person will be different, right? Me encouraging you and pulling your strings and your leader out of you is going to look different than another person.
Mm-hmm. To not step into the role that he needs to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Let him demonstrate who he is. It's not saying that you can't plan a date here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but that should only be every once in a while. But by and large, there's opportunity for you as a lady to, do things also, take the initiative on things as well, but not every time. Like create the space for him to step up and demonstrate who he is. And then if you're not married, that's great because now you can use that as data to make a wise decision or a wise choice. Is he a person that is asking questions? Is he willing to grow, learn? Is he coachable, teachable? Do your missions
Mm-hmm.
align? If
Mm-hmm.
they are, you can work with a person like that who may be struggling with his self-confidence, but is he growing? Is he becoming better? That's the
Mm-hmm.
next question to ask. If he's not, that's your sign to walk on and move on.
Yeah. The environment that the person grew up in or were in that made him the way that he is.
Could just be programming.
It could be programming, it could be just mindset and beliefs. And if he's coachable and teachable, he had enough of that and he wants to change, then it's actually very possible and a good, hopeful
I
situation.
would caution then also to check is the guy or the girl in
Mhm.
this case leveling up and growing for you only
Mhm.
or for a deeper purpose for himself or themselves.
Yeah.
If they're only doing it for you and for the relationship so they can win you,
Mhm.
it might not last.
Yeah.
So it usually takes about 90 days before a person starts showing their cracks on where their commitment
Mm.
starts and stops. And so if
Mhm.
you're not sure, just keep walking it out for at least 90 days or more, or however long you need to see if there's consistency and faithfulness there
Mhm.
without, so that'll be the next way to just test it with time
Mhm.
and see if the person's willing to, are they a person of their word? Are they faithful? Are they consistent,
Mhm.
even when you're not looking? All right. Well, I guess that's a wrap, and we'll see you next week.